because this is a real truck and I'm really driving, as I have no animatronic up here, just a real girl. So for your safety, please remain seated at all times, keeping those arms, hands, feet, and legs inside the truck as well. And for the safety and comfort of these animals, please refrain from making any loud noises or noises at the animals to try to get their attention. As always, much cooler we can see a safari of how these animals really act when they aren't around, just like how we see Andy's toys when he's not there. So first, friends, we are in the Little Ituri Forest. Here to the left, we can see two saddle-billed storks. They get their name for that yellow saddle on their bill. They have a wingspan of up to 9 feet long, and they do mate for life, so they'll be seen either on their own or in their mating pairs. Over to the right are two okapi. Okapi are known for their black and white striped legs, similar to the zebra print. However, they are not related to the zebra. They're more closely related to the giraffe, and that's known by looking at both the giraffe and the okapi's head structure. You can check out both of those head structures if you go to the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail to make a comparison for yourself. Over on the left is a black rhino. They're the smaller of the African rhino species, weighing up to 3,000 pounds. And those horns on top of their heads are made of keratin that's similar to what we have in our own hair and nails. Unfortunately, that's one of the reasons why they are greatly endangered. They're poached for those horns because believed to have a health benefit, although research has shown that that's not the case. So it's super important to help support those conservation efforts to educate. On the left here is a bongo. Both male and female bongos have horns, and their horns are shaped like that as they help through the grass and the brush, and they're nicknamed the ghosts of the forest since they are the very best at hiding. On the right are greater cougars. Those are females because females don't have horns. Males do have horns, and they can jump up to 6 feet in the air. We're now going to head out of the Little Ituri Forest and towards Safi River to see if there's any animals we can spot that might enjoy that river environment better. You can also take a look above you to see an animal spotting guide, and that'll help to give you a better idea of some of the over 30 different animal species that call the Harambe Wildlife Reserve home. And the Safi River is going to begin over on the right side in just a few moments, and you're going to look in the water there to see if there's any very large animals that you can spot. Over on the right, you can see two Nile hippopotamus. Those hippos can weigh up to 5,000 pounds. And friends, please remain fully seated at all times for your safety, friends. Thank you. Those are both male, so in order to determine who is the dominant male, they will see who can open their mouth the widest. Mothers will give birth and nurse underwater, and those babies will be born around 85 pounds. And a group of them is called a bloat. On the left are pinkback pelicans. They get their names for the pinkback that they get during mating season. Just like those saddle-billed storks, they do mate for life, and like other birds, they don't sweat. And we can see another Nile hippopotamus here on the left. They can hold their breath for about 8 minutes underwater, and they don't really swim. Instead, they'll walk along that bottom river surface. Up above us, these birds are a part of the Wild Africa Trek. So it's a tour that you can sign up for to get a closer look at some of the animals here on the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. And instead, we're going to drive over Karak Bridge, as you can see those Nile crocodiles on the left. Those crocodiles can be up to 16 feet in length, eat up to half of their body weight in just one sitting. And their metabolisms are a bit different than humans. They only need to eat every 1 or 2 weeks, depending on the season. Sometimes you can see them with their mouths open. They do that as a way to help cool themselves off. And crocodiles have very powerful jaws that are so strong they can chew through bone. And that comes in handy as crocodiles are very protective parents. Those mother crocodiles will cradle the baby eggs in her mouth to help them hatch. And once they have hatched, they still need a little bit of extra protection. Mothers will hide them in her mouth as they are not quite 16 feet in length yet. Over to the right is a baobab tree. It's nicknamed the upside down tree because its branches look like roots. It is leafless up to 9 months of the year because it holds so much water in its trunk. So sometimes animals from the savannah will go to its branches as a little bit of a water source. There is another baobab tree somewhere else in Disney's Animal Kingdom, and that is the Tree of Life. And friends, we have now made it to the savannah, and this is where some of the more popular African animals may be found. Over on the right here, we can see a herd or group of wildebeest. Wildebeest are migratory animals, so every year about 1.5 million will migrate across Africa. That's known as the Great Migration, and they kick up so much dirt and dust that dust cloud can be seen all the way from the space station, and it may look like they have stripes, but those are actually their sweat marks. A group of them is called a confusion because when they're in the group, if there is a predator, they'll run in different directions to help to confuse those predators and to protect themselves. Yes, here on the savannah there is a lot of open space, which means there aren't a lot of places for animals to hide, so you need to have different characteristics and things that they can do to help protect themselves. There's also a lot of grass, so there's a lot of areas for animals to graze and snack on the grass all throughout the day. Around us are termite towers, and they are as hard as cement, so sometimes animals like to use them as scratching posts. As we continue on the savannah, if you look over to the left here, you can see Ankole cattle. They're nicknamed Watusi cattle after the Watusi tribe that first domesticated them. They are one of 2 domesticated animals here on the reserve, and those 6-foot horns are not just for show. They do have a honeycomb blood vessel structure that helps to keep them cool. And they are not used for milk or other resources. Instead, they're seen as a sign of wealth. So the more Ankole cattle you have, the wealthier you are. But they do moo like other cattle do. Also on the right back there are springbok. Springbok are one of the smallest antelope, but they are pretty mighty despite their small size. They can leap up to 13 feet forwards or backwards or jump 6 to 8 feet in the air. And they're one of my very favorite animals to see here on the savannah. And so on either side of us, we'll be able to get a better view of those Ankole cattle and their really long horns. And then a closer look at those springbok over on the right, along with another Ankole cattle for my friends on the right side. And they do have an auntie cattle, so during the night when the rest of them are sleeping, the auntie will be up making sure that everything around is safe. We'll do a little race with the Ankole cattle. Bye! To the left here we can see a tower or group of Maasai giraffes. These are the tallest animal. They can be 16 to 20 feet tall. You can see those 2 things on top of their heads. Those are ossicones, and they are similar to horns, as they're made out of a softer bone that's covered by skin and hair. We can tell they're Maasai giraffes because of their irregular pattern. You may be used to seeing reticulated giraffes. They have that straight line pattern. They have homes over at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge. Those giraffes do a lot of things standing up. Mothers will give birth standing up, making the first thing that those babies experience is gravity, and they aren't too little when they're first born. They're born about 6 feet tall, and they can begin running and walking around within that first hour of birth. And they need to be born that tall so they're able to reach their mothers to nurse. Giraffes will also nap for about 30 minutes a day, and they will nap standing up. They can run about 30 miles per hour, and if they want to run for a long period of time, they'll run for about 10 miles. Over on the left there you can see an African elephant. They are the largest land mammal in the world. Females will weigh around 10,000 pounds and those males will be around 12,000 pounds. They're each a couple tons. Sometimes you might see them a bit dirty. That's because they like to put dirt and hay on their backs to help protect their skin from the sun. And it's similar to how we use sunscreen, but they're a little better at their skincare than us because they put it on each and every single day without being reminded to. Here on the left is a flamboyant or group of greater flamingos. They are the largest and lightest color pinko ball flamingos. We can see some gray ones there. Those are baby flamingos, showing us that flamingos aren't always pink. They turn pink because of their diet. takes about 2 years of eating shrimp, which contains beta-carotene, and that's what changes it that pink color starting from their body, working its way all the way up to their head. These flamingos are 3 to 5 feet tall, weighing around 5 pounds, which is not bad for their height, and they will rest on one leg to help conserve energy. And if you like hidden Mickeys, if you look over to the left there, where those flamingos are standing, you might be able to see one.
머리 아니야?
And so the Disney Conservation Fund helps a lot of different animals that you'll see not only here on the reserve but all over Walt Disney World. And if you go over to the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail, the very first animal you see there is the
플라밍고가 못 날아가게 날개
They were
쪽에
endangered, but
잘라놨는데
now they are a vulnerable species, which means that they can still waver back and forth between being endangered and not endangered. And that's because the fund has helped to raise the population. So hopefully they will continue to help raise the population so that they are no longer endangered or vulnerable, as there have been babies born here at Walt Disney World. The fund has even worked in partnership with the Save the Elephants project in Africa, where they created beehive fences as a safe and natural way to help farmers protect their crops from the elephants snacking in them. And you might wonder why that is effective. That's because elephants are actually afraid of bees. Here on the left, we'll do some cheetah spotting. So cheetahs are the fastest land animal in the world, running to speeds of up to 60 miles per hour, but they can only run that fast for about the length of a football field, and then after that they need to take a very long nap because it takes a lot of energy to run that fast. Cheetahs are also very anxious animals. There are some programs around the world where cheetahs have emotional support dogs, which is pretty cool. It shows that both cats and dogs can get along. And these are all females, and they are sisters. They're the cheetah girls, or the cheetah sisters. They use those very long tails to help them change direction at those high speeds. And unlike other cats, they don't have retractable claws. Instead, their claws are about halfway out, and it helps them to grip the ground so they don't slip and fall while running. Up ahead, these are Kopi rocks. They provide a great overlooking view of the savannah, so sometimes big cats like to hang out up there. Over to the left is a water buck. They are a type of antelope, and like the name suggests, they like to hang around water sources a bit more than other antelopes do. And they have an oil that will cover their fur to help make it waterproof, but does have a little bit of a stink to it. And also on the right, laying down the ground, there is a bontebok. The bontebok are pretty special because in the 1900s there were only 17 of them remaining, and a few farmers in Africa helped to notice that, so able to help raise the population a little over 2,000. So because of those few farmers in Africa, we may not be able to see that bontebok here today. And on the left we can see 2 female African lions. Lions will rest for about 20 hours a day, and they do that to help conserve the energy. Once the sun goes down, their vision is 6 times better than humans. A lion's roar can be heard up to 5 miles away, and they do that to let other prides know that this is their area. And if you've seen the movie The Lion King, Simba in Swahili does mean lion, so his name in English is Lion Lion. And Pumbaa from The Lion King in Swahili means foolish, which is a misrepresentation because warthogs are pretty smart, but I guess it's fitting for the character Pumbaa. So if you look back in that left corner, kind of in between those bushes, you can see warthogs. They have those 2 pairs of tusks. The long ones in the front help them to dig, and the ones closest to them help them to protect themselves when they can't use those long ones. And they can run about 35 miles an hour. Here on the right are some eggs. Those are ostrich eggs. So ostriches are one of the largest birds in the world, but they don't use those wings to fly. Instead, they use those wings to help them change direction when they run about 40 miles per hour. Those eggs take 40 days to hatch, and they are so strong that a full-grown human can stand on them. And you might wonder why those eggs aren't in a nest up in a tree, or why there weren't any ostrich around them. That's because they are tough enough to protect themselves. We're now going to go past the warden's post, and there is one more friend out there. Those are Nigerian dwarf goats. They're not only cute, but they are super social and playful. So sometimes when they play, they will butt heads against one another. It's not to be mean, it's just one of the ways that they show signs of maturity. They don't take up too much room, so they are perfect for farmers in Africa to take care of. In return, these goats will produce a sweet milk, so farmers can use that milk and other resources as a way to help support their families. It's a great way that shows that if we take care of animals, they will in turn take care of us too, and that both animals and humans can safely live alongside each other without destroying animal habitats or endangering other animal species. And you can see them playing right there, showing signs of maturity. So that's what you can tell your parents when you're, butting heads against one another. Hey, we're just showing signs of maturity. So I always leave the reserve feeling so inspired to want to make some kind of change to help with animal conservation. And unfortunately, a lot of these animals are struggling because their homes are being destroyed. So if we can help the environment, we can in turn help to save these animals. So I like to do different things in my daily life to help save the environment, such as reducing my water use and using less plastic. So to reduce my water use, I take shorter showers and I have the sink running. When I'm not actively using the water while brushing my teeth or doing the dishes, I just turn it off. And for plastic, when I have a lunch every day, instead of using plastic sandwich bags that I intend on throwing away, I use reusable containers instead. These are very simple things that I can do every day that will add up in the long run and will help to save all these animals in the wild. If we have any wilderness explorers on board, the name of this truck is Simba 1, S-I-M-B-A with the number 1. And friends, now is a great time to begin gathering those belongings. And once it is safe to unload, please make sure that you watch your head and step, as it is a little bit of a drop off. So Kuaharini friends, I hope that you will go well, go wild, go out there, make a change, stay hydrated, and enjoy the rest of your adventure here at Disney's Animal Kingdom. In the park,